towards the end of October, as happens in even the best of the northern parts, the wind shifted to bitter and frigid cold. And, as it always does, life ended en masse. We think of plagues and war, of violent hurricanes, volcanoes, and earthquakes, but cold, the simple absence of heat, is the ultimate ender of things. It does its work in the silence of night, or in the brightness of a cold day, unknowing of its force, and uncaring of the life it slowly extinguishes. I have witnessed this cycle for eons, if not longer, and though the shift in weather with its destruction also brings the hope of new life, it still brings mostly death. Lest I sound macabre, let me assure, this is not a tale of horror, but of adventure. For, as I often say, death paves way for life. Each species, having laid its seed upon the earth in one way or another, decays. But nature is a trickster in the best of times, always fiddling with the knobs, so to speak. Here, among many billion spirits, for that is all I can imagine my kind to be, ectos, I call them, I search, and watch, and wait. And wait. Waiting for that ember glow, suggestive of a connection. Of a spark. Of conception. Around me is a kaleidoscope of color, strewn in the ground, in water, in insects and animals, and the blue of humanity. Small specks of light, born themselves of matter so small it remains invisible except in numbers. It is there that I see it first. The tiniest flicker of yellow gold, I am attracted. Quickly, I fly toward the glow, a gazillion neighbors darting here and there, attracted as well, perhaps by the scent, but confused and unseeing. I see their confusion in whipping tails, anxious and jittery, still missing the connection. I swoop, passing the blues, violets, and reds of other species, taking note of the crowds herding and bunching to the flickers of light, knowing that of the multitude, only one can fit per hole. Even then, the odds of survival are several million to 1. Pretty good though, compared to the overall volume of ectos in pursuit. Survival. What a funny word. It connotes life, or the potential for the loss of it, but there is no true life without a spirit, an ecto, to give it personality and attitude and purpose. My kind has no corporeal form. Nor is there death, as you might perceive it. Physical life happens when the right enzymes connect with the proper proteins, offering its unique, bright glow for fleeting moments at a time. An opening of sorts, which we compete to enter. In doing so, our chances are diminished further, as if entering a lottery. One step closer, and yet so far away. Most connections fail, regardless of our mindless, futile attempts to best each other. More biomatter is formed in life's wake, offering new light, albeit in ever smaller fragments. Still, a chance, however slight, to feast and live. I dive left, avoiding a large and lumbering, timeless specter, which charges toward a blue glow on the horizon. He arrives at the light's edge, hurling others into the ether, and squeezing himself through a hole half his size. The light goes out, and the attempt at new life begins. Blue, if I haven't mentioned, is for humans. Some argue the highest in the chain. Some believe it is the lowest. For me, a snack, an opportunity to spread my progeny. The largest ectos always go for blue. Once in a great while, a small one, though attracted to another color, jumps the queue and makes its way into a blue space. The triangle of life is created, but of a different sort. A mutated organism, not quite what it was meant to be. I am attracted to yellow gold. I went blue once, but the thing died at conception, shifting me back 3 levels, to white attraction. I spent the next 100 years in bacterial infestations. Things like mold and gut biospheres, but I'm back to yellow gold now. Very targeted and very powerful. The peak of ectoism. I catch an emerging yellow off to the right. Newly formed and so far unseen by others. I brush off my original target, swimming free of contenders, and veer. The ether is vacant in this neck of the woods. The terrain is rife with death, white flashes obscuring the dim yellowish light ahead. It's there though. Brighter as I come in close. Hey, I hear from above. Get away from my light. The voice, which isn't really a voice, but frequency of vibration, the irony is not lost on me. It is a voice I recognize. It's Paul. I stop wiggling and look upward. He's charging in at 45 degrees, aimed directly at the hole. A rookie move. I go for it, timing the slap of my tail against his trajectory. I grunt, a rapid, flurrying vibration, as we meet, not moments from the light, sending him ricocheting off the edge of the matter, a name we use for physical form. Paul recovers, a flash of anger wobbles his little ecto frame. He turns, flying at me with a vigorous burst of speed. No time to enter the hole, I brace, beginning an ether split. He struggles to stop, flapping his tail like a flag in the wind, but it's too late, and I absorb his essence. One less of us in the universe, and I double in size. Too large now, to simply slip into the hole. Behind me, I feel the vibrations of the horde. The lure of yellow gold light has drawn the masses. I feel Paul inside me, wiggling, still struggling in a vain attempt to escape. Paul, I vibrate internally. We can take this light, but must do it together. Paul grows silent, struggles a bit more, but without much enthusiasm, and settles. Thank you, I say, letting our ether gel and fuse. Paul's personality, his essence, integrates with mine, creating a new and unique set of abilities. The horde is upon us, but we remain weakened from battle. I move to block the hole, buffeted by ecto after ecto. They don't mean us harm. They are drawn to the light the same as me, and the same as Paul. The additional girth helps. My strength returns, and Paul's joins with me. I vibrate, hurling the smaller ectos in every direction. We, Paul and I, wiggle our tail further into the hole, pressing inward, still fending off the others. From the south, a horrid sight emerges. 3 large, white, ecto-like beings, each the size of 2 ecto, or even more. They are bearing in, and we are not yet a quarter into the hole. Layers of excess ecto bulge at the edges as we squeeze and vibrate into a space not near large enough. One blow from the larger menace, especially with its physical traits, and we'll be knocked free. Reach for the light, Paul's voice says, though it is difficult to tell his from mine anymore. Make the connection. We strain, lashing our backside, reaching and stretching the pointed tip of our tail toward the light. I feel the light's warmth flood our frame. We are so close. The first hit glances away, but weakens our hold. Paul exerts the little power he has left, sealing the bleeding light from the gap. I look. No new ecto has yet been attracted. The big white turns, heading back in. Ether rolls from his large torso as he presses forward, gaining momentum for the next hit. It hopes to attach, draining our ether and forcing our detachment. The thud is head-on, and the reverberations are ominous. Paul blacked out, lying without vibration inside our rubbery shell, but I hang in, flattened, dented, but fluid. The force had pressed us back, further into the hole. The tip of light licks at the end of our tail, but the white has us clenched in its barbs. I feel the drain, my strength fading like a balloon with a leak. I exert my sensitive tentacles, entangling within light's warm embrace. Tension at the hole's edge releases, and we slip further inside. The light dims, and then fades out. The white beast releases and he and the others turn to leave. They no longer recognize our existence. Time fades by. Paul and I feast, our DNA now merged. It replicates, and our new life survives. We whisper in flashing yellow darkness, imagining what our combined personalities will bring to this new life. We imagine the future, dreaming of what we might become. Oh, the generations we will create, drawing legions of ecto to our fold. Combined, joined, and integrated, powerful. Something unique in the world. More time slips away, and we become a strong, new life. No longer ether-based, but corporeal. We feed and replicate, faster and faster, ectos drawn to our ever-increasing light, our offspring replicating as well. The species grows exponentially, bringing even more ectos to life. To the world. We exist and are determined to protect it. We build barriers against our enemies, sealing off holes of light, weaknesses that might be used against us. I've never forgotten the large white ecto-like beings, or their brutal attacks. With each new life, we morph a little, trying out new defenses, new ways to replicate, and new ways to grow our territory. I have, in a brief span of time, spawned more corporeal souls, by far, than there are humans in the history of people. I owe it all to a simple fish, a dog, or a goat, and the man whose contact enabled our growth. Due more to luck than science, as it turns out, my kind is spittable. Not perfect, but it works, allowing for rapid migration through an arrogant species. Top of the chain, my ass, I don't actually have an ass per se. Colonies of our species have established across the globe, and continue to thrive. Make no doubt, there is a war afoot. One Eye, and what remains of Paul, do not intend to lose. CV 19.